Welcome to Winder Works, the official podcast of the City of Winder. Join us today as we go behind the scenes to learn from the people, projects, and progress shaping our community. Now, let's get ready to dive into the initiatives that make Winder a great place to live, work, and visit. All right, well, welcome everybody to this month's edition of the Winder Works podcast, and we're excited this month. We have Clint Cannon, the city's public works director, with us today. Clint, how are you doing?
Doing good so far today.
All right, well, hey, that's always a start. Before we jump right in, can you tell the public just a little bit about Clint, a little bit about how you got to Winder, how you got into public works, and what you really enjoy about the job?
Okay. I was fortunate enough. I've had a decent part of my career at another municipality.
Okay.
And had a lot of experience there in water and water distribution, and had some time there, and was fortunate to move over to ESG operations when they were operating public works for the city. And so it's not confusing, but sometimes I tell folks I've been getting close to 11 years working in the city of Winder, but only the last maybe 3.5 years working directly for the city. It's a running joke with a lot of my friends that I'm like Chandler from Friends, where a lot of people know I have a job but don't know exactly what we do.
Never heard that comparison, but I get it.
I get that from my friends.
I get it, yeah.
But public works kind of a lot of times is considered a catch-all for a lot of departments. It's a lot of right-of-way maintenance, it's a lot of street maintenance, a lot of road sign maintenance. We help facilitate a lot of the events for the city. We also maintain the buildings for the city, and a lot of times we team up with some of the other departments to help out when we can. That's probably the short overview. Parks, facilities, right-of-way, streets, etc.
So what's out of all those things, what's something that a resident would be surprised to know that kind of falls under public works that they may not know that you have responsibility for, or that you take care of without anyone noticing?
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of times, at least, one of the ones I get the most is I don't think people know that we maintain the street signs a lot. It's one of the ones that kind of gets swept under the rug. It's one of the things people see a lot, but they don't understand that it takes a lot of work to maintain. And maybe the event, helping facilitate the events for the city. We've got quite a team that helps that, investing a lot of time in the downtown parks and so forth. So that's probably one that also a lot of folks that don't understand fall under our purview, but we try to do what we can to help facilitate the events for the city.
Now, when you say you do maintenance of street signs and signs, how would you classify what kind of maintenance do you do on those?
It's anywhere from new installs to cleaning to replacement. We have a set of standards that we go by for reflectivity. At night, the signs are supposed to be reflective. Also, upgrading and bringing in posts that are supposed to be safer than some of the old posts that used to be used. It's a litany of things from ground up new installation to anywhere just purely cleaning signs to make sure that folks can see them well.
Okay, well, that's understandable. So I guess that kind of goes to the next question. If you could describe, and I know you just talked about all the different areas that Public Works touches, what would a day in the life of a typical Public Works employee be? Just a random standard day, and pick any of the divisions that you have to kind of describe that for someone.
All right. For the most part, even though we do touch a lot of different areas in the city, most of the guys, we try to have some type of routine for them. So if you look at a guy that's on a right-of-way maintenance team, he's going to have a set of work orders that drop routinely. For the most part, we have talks with them in the morning, whether it's about specific areas they're going to be working, to safety, to weather events that could be coming. And then the crews will go through, inspect their equipment, get everything loaded up, and then they'll be dispatched to the right-of-way or their park or the facility that they're going to maintain. So for the most part, we try to have somewhat of a routine, and it's like that for most of the divisions. We generate routes for the route crews that are working, the asphalt crews that are working. We generate things for them to try to be predictive and give them a routine. But it's for sure every one of the folks on our team know at a moment we may be doing something different, and changing directions and trying to facilitate something else that comes up.
Okay. So what's the most common request that you all may get from residents? What would you consider typical that, okay, we got another one that we need to go take a look at?
Really, one thing that we get a lot of requests for is general inspection of right-of-ways. Can you come out and check blank in the right-of-way? So a lot of times that leads to either some type of tree maintenance or general right-of-way maintenance, but most of the time it's that. We also, I guess, if it's a 1A, 1B situation, most of the time it's roads, inspect an area in a road, whether that's a utility cut that needs to be repaired or just a general pothole or something like that.
Okay. How do you prioritize things when you may get a bunch of requests from everything from something with the sidewalk to a pothole to right-of-way maintenance, tree maintenance? How do you prioritize that from a staffing perspective and for the citizens? Let's be honest, to make sure they see what we do, what you all do every day.
Well, first thing we look at is as when we're trying to make a priority list is a safety factor.
Okay.
So if someone calls in, and whether that's a right-of-way issue, say it's a line-of-sight issue from a tree or something else in a right-of-way, the first thing we'll look at is this causing a line-of-sight problem? And, is it dangerous at this intersection or at this curve? And if the answer is yes, then that jumps on the priority list. And it would be the same thing on a road. If someone calls in and it's a road condition, if it's a sidewalk condition, and that's presenting a safety hazard, then it jumps up in the priority list. If it's a right-of-way condition or something in the street that's not necessarily a safety issue, obviously we would most want to just schedule that and make it a little easier for our guys to work their schedule around it. So safety is probably the primary thing that helps us prioritize. If it's not a safety hazard, then we work with are you going to be working in that area today? Okay, then let's get to that thing that's been on the list.
Okay.
But safety is number one.
All right, so now we're going to get to the tough questions. You ready? We're going to get to some tough ones.
Okay.
If you could share a recent project that you feel that made a really big difference in Winder and for the community as a whole, describe that project. Tell us a little bit about it.
I would think one of the more recent projects, there's a ton going on in the city, so you could look at road improvement and things of that nature, and I know everyone's benefiting from that. But if we kind of look off the scale a little bit, one of the last things, one of the most recent kind of larger scale projects would be the city taking on and installing the White's Mill Trail. I think that's that was a huge thing for the city and the citizens around, and even outside of the city. I know people that come and use that trail, and our utility group had a lot to do with the installation of that. Our group does a lot of the maintenance there, but it's very common to go to that trailhead and already notice that the parking lot is not big enough for the folks that want to utilize it.
That's a good problem.
It's a great problem to have. And so that trail is probably one that I can think in the recent, maybe the last couple of years, it's been a game changer, I would think, for the city. And, we have other trailheads that are like that. I think the city's investment in its trail system has done a lot for its citizens and those that are outside of it. Man, there's just so much, Jonathan, that's happened in the last few years. Downtown improvements.
That's a good
the
problem.
Plaza downtown was a huge investment for the city, and you can see folks want to use those outside areas. But I think the trails that has been installed recently, like I said, White's Mill, maybe the one that you can look at and see it made a big difference.
So can you tell everyone that may not know, because White's Mill is a little off the beaten path,
Sure.
That they may not know exactly where it is, what it is, and how you can use it.
Sure, yeah. If you're on Highway 53, or I guess if we're going to talk layman's terms, if you're leaving Winder going towards Jefferson, and you get out to where the fork in the road is at the new Publix. If you go to the left, that would be Highway 53, and then down to the left is Sims Road, and then you turn right back to the right. There's a small gravel entranceway that goes back to the parking lot, and once you get back there, it's a little over 2 miles. All natural trail, most of it very easy to walk, not a ton of elevation changes. You can bike it as well. It's a multi-use path. It's got some cut throughs. If you don't want to do the entire 2.1 miles, you can shorten that up a little bit. I think the highlight of White's Mill is when you get to the back part of the trail where it parallels Cedar Creek. It's just incredible to see the overlook there. It's impressive. I always tell people every time I go over there, and I don't go as much as I should,
right.
and you can see that most of the time I'm wearing that I should probably be over there a little bit more exercising.
You and me both.
Most of the time when you get over there, I always try to stop at that overlook, and you can see where an old mill used to be there, but it's really, you don't feel like you're in the downtown Winder area anymore.
Yeah.
You feel like you're in the North Georgia mountains somewhere. It's beautiful. So I think that's probably the highlight of it is getting back there and just taking some time to overlook that area is pretty awesome.
Excellent.
Yes, sir.
All right. So what's the strangest thing that has ever happened to you as public works director or in your department? Just a situation that, you may say, man, I've never had this happen before, or in 100 years of working this job, this will never happen again.
We've had some odd encounters with customers. Try to I don't know.
No names, please. Because sorry, we're not trying to offend anybody.
Try to leave that. Yeah, I want to try to leave that brief. But I did have a strange encounter that's always stuck out with a customer once at another municipality. I was working on the side of the right of way with someone else, and someone pulled up, and it was two elderly women, and they pulled over, saw our truck, and assumed we would have answers. A lot of people think we have answers to questions, and this lady was a little older, and I assume maybe couldn't hear so well. She was yelling pretty loud, but not out of anger. I just don't think she could tell she was yelling. And she asked me where the crack house was.
I'm sorry, what?
The crack house. She said, "Where's the crack house?" And man, I had no clue what this probably 70 to 80-year-old lady was talking about. But
it was medicinal, I'm
sure. For sure was asking me where the crack house was. And I had to ask her repeatedly, what do you mean? And I thought I was mishearing her. And she just kept loudly, where's the crack house? I didn't know where it was, so I did not have a good answer for her. Got back to our office a little later on, and it turns out in that area, there's a place you can take pecans to have them cracked. And it's called the crack house. And later on, I went back out and was looking, and they have a small sign by the road where it says crack house. So I'm sure that's what she intended, but that's a story that I've had for a long time in my career, where being asked where the crack house was up there.
I don't know that I would have kept a straight face or really had an answer for that one.
It was pretty difficult. We were put in an odd situation that day, but yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's just encounters you have. Yeah. You don't know. We've opened facility doors before and found folks sleeping there. That'll take you off guard.
That'll take your breath away.
That'll really take you off guard. But yeah, it's just kind of some odd things you may be running into with customers.
I didn't know if it was going to be something where you open your truck door and there was a snake sitting in your seat or something like that. Given what y'all do, but that's a better story. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, no, I would probably. I'm definitely one of the let's burn the truck if there's a snake in there type of guy.
Oh, so there wouldn't be. We just had an insurance claim.
Yeah,
okay.
It'd be a completely different situation if I find a snake in a truck.
All right, so keeping the levity going, if you could describe public works in one word or even a sound, it could be a sound. What's it going to be?
Yikes. Okay.
All right. Are you still thinking about the snake or something? Is that?
I think it's just a lot of people, if they come in, even when we have interviews with potential employees, if they haven't been around it sometimes, folks really don't understand what's all going on all the time.
Yeah.
And when you really understand how many things are happening, how many different directions you can be pulled in, especially if it's an event time, especially if there's a storm event, and how many different moving pieces there are to what quote unquote public works are, it just can seem overwhelming sometimes. So maybe that's a word for it.
I like yikes.
I have felt that before. So.
Okay. So how do you think in your own words, public works really impacts everyday life for a resident in Winder?
Well, I think one thing for sure is to be a part of the team and I guess last in the business. And you need a servant mindset, and because you really are making a difference every day, and we have a team now that really understands kind of the deeper purpose of it. I know a lot of folks may see a right-of-way crew working and they're cutting grass, and some people say they're just cutting grass, but we got a team of guys or a team that really understands that they're not just cutting grass, but they're making a difference, and it matters. It matters that the right-of-way is clean and clear, and there are clear lines of sight. And our asphalt crew understands that it matters that the roads are as safe as we can make them, and we're trying to impact that. So we have a team that really gets that and has kind of that servant mindset. I know we talk about with some of our other leadership team, the servant leadership mentality, and right now, our department's really fortunate to have a group there that really has that mindset and understands that anything they're touching is making a difference. Our sign crew is not just putting a sign up, but if he's putting a stop sign up, that's making the intersection safer. A curve sign, a speed limit sign, all those things.
Blind drive,
absolutely,
sort of
and we're working with PD on those things to try to make sure that areas are safe with signage. So we've got a group now. The city's very fortunate with the Public Works team that we have a entire group that really gets that and works under that concept of a servant mindset when they're doing what they do each day.
Good. So what's something, say I'm a resident, and what's something you would tell me that's small that I could do on a daily basis or weekly basis that makes y'all's job just a little bit easier and allows you to focus on some of the bigger things?
I would say, I know I've said it a lot, but right-of-way maintenance. Our team spends a ton of time in right-of-way maintenance, and whether that's purely down to the bare roots of just picking trash up in the right-of-way. Folks probably wouldn't understand the amount of work orders that we have that are literally just riding to pick up cups and trash and things like that in the right of way, and to the maintenance of it. It's not against the law to cut your grass all the way to the edge of the road.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
And so we're maintaining the rights of way, but that's probably one of the things that's most intensive is right of way maintenance. But that could go to any of our parks as well. If someone's out at a park and sees some litter around, picking that up it would be a huge benefit, because that's just where a lot of the time goes, and it's something that someone could do. It's tough for someone out to be in a street to try to fill a pothole, but just picking up a piece of trash on the side of the road is something that we can all do.
Yeah, and I think that if people would just handle what's in front of their house,
there you go.
You start doing that as a trickle effect, and you're building that proverbial wall, and you're just handling your part, and everybody does their part. It allows you all to focus on something that's. I'm not saying right away maintenance is not important, but now you have time to go fix that pothole, make sure the stop sign is there, make sure the fire department knows where to go, that the signs are accurate and placed there. So I respect that, and we appreciate that. Are there any upcoming projects that you're very excited about, that you're ready to get going, that could be, as our engineer said on this podcast, a generational project?
Well, I think the city's done a great job to this point kicking off a couple of those generational projects. We're in the midst of them now. The project at Center Street that's extended to 81, I know we reference the Center Street project, but everyone sees it at 81 right now.
Yeah.
But, residents of Winder know that's the generational thing, and that's kicked off. The work that folks are seeing over on Stevens Street that's already in progress. The city has done so much to get us to this point,
right.
And we have so much going on, but it'll be continual. The road maintenance, the city's made a marked effort to continue to raise the expectations there. So I would say our continued road improvements, but I've talked about trails some. We have some trails that are coming up that are going to be exciting in some new areas of town that we got bids that are ready to hit the ground in just a couple of weeks. So those are going to be exciting. We're there. We're in the middle of it. I think the largest project that the city's got going, I know we've been talking about a lot of public works related stuff, not as much capital projects, and I don't want to steal utilities thunder, but the rock quarry project right now is just a huge thing that's going to be just a gigantic benefit and safeguard for the city for years to come. And you want to talk about stuff that's exciting, there's videos out there, the blasting and all that. That's some exciting stuff.
And the public doesn't have any reason to understand the scope of that project, but when you're storing 1 billion gallons of water, that's setting the city up to grow. That's setting the city up to be self-reliant.
Yeah.
We're not really, we have that ability to not depend on any outside entity or weather pattern.
That's right.
At that point. So that's a huge project that you're right, it will benefit everybody.
Yeah. The water plant upgrades are, again, to your point, setting up for growth. And to your point about weather events, our departments and consultants have done a great job trying to weatherproof those types of facilities too, with backup power situations and things of that nature. So absolutely safeguarding the city and preparing it for growth. Yeah, big time.
So it's man, that there couldn't have been a better segue into the next question. And I'm saying this as city administrator, but please don't hold me to this. If money and time were not a factor, what's your ideal project that you would get done in Winder?
That's a great question.
You can call it a dream project.
Yeah.
Call it whatever you will.
I love that question. So a few years ago, the city was able to partner with GDOT on the streetscape project on Broad Street through town, and really, changed the way that street, that area of town looked, with trees and bump out islands and landscaping, and it was great structurally. I mean, don't get me wrong, it did. I mean, there were a lot of structural issues with the asphalt there that was generational. That the city partnered with. If we had another opportunity like that, money no object, I think obviously the other main thoroughfare through town is May Street, and if there were an opportunity to make a streetscape project through May Street and change that thoroughfare through town from an aesthetic standpoint, but also through a use standpoint. But I would think having some type of just marked streetscape project on May Street, that would be I would love to see that. It's a pinch point for a lot of folks in traffic, so that could be looked at. But I just think there are a lot of opportunities, money no object, for just beautification and turning that main thoroughfare through town into just as something that we could all be really proud of.
Yeah, that's a great point. And before we kind of get to the last couple of questions, you just reminded me of something that I think the public would love to hear. Can you explain how limited we are in what we can do on our May Street, on Broad Street, on 81, and why we're limited? Because I know people will say that the city is not doing X, the city's not doing Y, but there's a reason.
Absolutely. It's so common, very common, for us to get requests for something on May Street or something on Broad, something on Athens Street. Yeah. And those are GDOT routes. And so they have the maintenance authority for those areas. So there's just extremely little that we can do on any of those areas, and they're the main areas in town. So whether it's traffic lights and traffic signals and the traffic that comes through town, the truck traffic that comes through town, just the large majority of that are all on GDOT routes. So it's just extremely challenging for the city itself to be able to go in and make any type of large scale changes there, because we don't have the authority to do so. So it is very challenging when your main routes through town, you don't have the ability to really do a lot to try to make those things better. It's challenging.
Yeah, and I know that if there's an emergency, I know we'll address it quickly and then let GDOT know. Like, we're not going to wait for their response. But, people I hope they understand that it is a partnership that we have to have with GDOT, that there's only so much we can do, and we'll do everything that we can. But some response times are slower on those areas because of the coordination that needs to happen.
That's a great way to describe it. Yeah. Sometimes the response times just may not be there. Yes, sir.
So as Winder grows, as we know what's going to happen. We know we're going to grow, and we're going to do everything we can throughout every department, our elected officials, to grow in the right way. How do you envision Public Works? What is Public Works' role as we start growing?
I think it's just our responsibility to do what we can to scale that growth with the rest of the growth. Yeah. We have to be responsible from a staffing standpoint to make sure that we're staffed well to handle new challenges with growth. It's not always right-of-way maintenance, but there are other services that we provide. And as we add more doors and more houses and more streets, we have to know how to become farther reaching in more areas. So it's our responsibility to know how to grow as the city grows, and each one of our services to keep the expectation that we have. Like I said, every street that we add, every door that we add, those are not just areas of right of way, but it's the multiple other services that are offered to residents in the city limits, and we have to just know how to grow our team as the city grows to offer those services.
All right, that's a great way to put it. So if I'm a resident, what's your recommended way? If I have an issue, how do I go about contacting you all, Public Works, to have that issue addressed?
The easiest way to contact our team to let them know is through our Public Works email, public.works@cityofwinder.com. That reaches our entire team, and you can also reach out to the customer service line, and we work really closely with them. I think the city did a very smart thing a few years ago, and it is decided to centralize any call for any request for service all through the customer service team. And then our customer service team knows how to send that information out. So we work really closely with them, and they know how to get, whether it's a request for trash, they know what to do with that, whether it's a street sign, a pothole, they know how to get that to the rest of the team. So calling just the same number you may call if you have a question about your water bill,
right,
you can call that same phone number if you have a question about a right-of-way. So either one of those is the easiest way to get to anyone on our team.
Okay. So as we wrap up, would you have any, quote unquote pro tips for residents that could help them better understand what Public Works does?
It's almost the way that we look at it a lot of times. And when we say Public Works, that means a lot of things, a lot of places. Mm-hmm. And so if you lived somewhere else and you've been lucky enough to get to Winder, then it may have meant something different where you were. But for our team here, a lot of the ways that we describe it is if you can see it above ground, it most likely goes to our Public Works team. And if it's a service you can't see that's underground, that most likely will go to our utilities team.
Okay.
So that's a lot of the ways that we try to look at it. But to that point, if it's within the right of way and it's above the ground, that is something that we probably can help you understand the maintenance of.
I think that's a great way to put it. So last question, what's your favorite Marvel movie?
Oh, gosh.
And if you guys don't know, secret about Mr. Cannon, and he is a huge superhero fan.
Yeah, I would, man, I feel like it's too easy to say Endgame. If you're looking from Marvel, I think that's maybe one of the easier answers. I still, if you look at Marvel, man, we went really nerd, didn't we?
We did.
We were really out there nerding out here. I still, from a Marvel standpoint, love the original Iron Man. Maybe there's some nostalgia there. Those are as much a nerd as you can be. Like I have like core memories attached to seeing that movie in the theater, and I'm watching it with my son, and it feels like it holds up. So I think from a Marvel standpoint, I would put the original Iron Man up there with any of them for me. If you're looking. In a real superhero fan, you got to have a DC and a Marvel answer, I think.
All right, well, hit us with the DC one.
I don't think you can have you can't talk about one without the other. You go to the Christian Bale Batmans, and you can kind of just pick one out of the hat.
Dark Knight Rises for me. I think the third one.
Yeah. I could agree with you. Yeah. I mean, the villains in any of those were just top tier villains. Everyone knows Heath Ledger's performance. We're talking about the Bane in those movies.
Man, his voice creeped me out. I think that's what made it so good.
Yeah, I agree. And so, man, if you aren't a nerd, you really are gonna miss the last part of this. But man, we could have done a whole nother one about those. But yeah, I think for me, you could draw a name. I could agree with you on Rises as probably the winner of those three. But yeah, that's me. I'm a Batman guy.
Yeah.
So.
And just so that everyone knows, I'm not setting him up. Mine would be a tie between the Avengers and Captain Marvel. I like Captain Marvel because the nostalgia of being in the 90s. It shows Blockbuster Video for all you that didn't know. You used to be able to rent videos and DVDs from Blockbuster and the music. That kind of drew that one in for me.
Gotcha, man. That's a great callback too.
Yeah.
I'd have to think about going back and renting VHS and thinking about what I really would take from those. That's a great callback too.
All right. So as we wrap up, is there anything else now that I've made you nerd out, is there anything else that you want the public to know about Clint Cannon or about our public works department?
Nothing outside of just how proud we are of our team right now. I know I've said it, but I've been around this industry for quite a while now, from a couple different areas, getting close to 20 years, which tells my age. But in the 20 years I've been around the industry, our team right now is as good as I've ever worked around. Just the morale that we've been able to establish in our team. Let me just say, the city deciding just a couple of years ago at this point to bring Public Works back in house as a service, and we had the ability to kind of build that, and the staff that we have, the team that we have there, has just done an outstanding job building that department. They're positive. The morale is always high, and they're willing to get the job done no matter what it takes. We work a lot of long hours sometimes around events, and that's fun events, and that's not fun events. That's when it's snowing or when there's, when there are trees down. Our team never asks questions. They just want to come in and work. They're as good as I've been around, but they really do have that servant mindset, that they understand the larger purpose of what we're trying to do.
Good.
So I couldn't brag on those folks enough. They really are awesome.
Well, that's great to hear. Well, Clint, I appreciate your time and hope that everyone has enjoyed this podcast, and we'll talk to everyone next month on the next edition of the Winder Works podcast.
All right. Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you. Thanks for listening to Winder Works. We hope you enjoyed the show today. Stay informed by following the City of Winder on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And make sure to visit www.cityofwinder.com to learn more about Winder, the City of Opportunity.